So I was standing in line for coffee this morning, and I was doing that thing we all do, just doom scrolling while I waited.
Oh, I'm
And my
sorry.
phone pops up a notification.
Yeah.
A massive system update is ready to install, and I immediately, clicked install later because I
Okay.
need my apps right now. But it got me thinking, we are just so obsessed with the specs of our external technology.
Oh, completely. We want the M series chip, the fastest refresh rate, the newest OS. We treat lag like it's a personal insult.
Right. We demand absolute efficiency from this little glass rectangle in our pocket,
hmm
but we almost never stop to think about the processor that's actually, running the show, the 3-pound lump of gray matter inside our skulls.
Which, if we're being brutally honest, is running some very old, very legacy software.
Okay, yeah.
We're effectively trying to run the modern world on an operating system that was coded on the African savanna maybe 50,000 years ago.
And it has not had a security patch since the Stone Age.
Exactly. No over-the-air updates for the brain.
So that is the mission for this deep dive. We're looking at the operating system of your mind. And I gotta say, looking through the research we have, from Nobel Prize winners like Daniel Kahneman to modern decision science, it's honestly a little terrifying.
It is humbling, isn't it?
It is, because the uncomfortable truth is this. We are not the rational, logical thinkers we think we are.
Not even close.
We like to think we're the pilot of the plane, carefully checking the gauges. But most of the time, we're just passengers, and the plane is on autopilot.
And that autopilot is programmed to freak out if it hears a twig snap.
That's the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And the goal of this conversation isn't just to learn some cool psychology terms to throw around at a dinner party.
No, it's about maintenance.
Yeah.
It's about, if you want to communicate better, stop losing money on bad investments or just not get played by the news cycle. You have to understand the bugs in your own system.
You have to know how the machine actually works, not how you wish it worked. So, okay, let's pop the hood. The core architecture here seems to come from Kahneman's dual process theory.
Right. And this is the foundation of so much of modern behavioral economics. The idea is that the brain isn't one unified processor. It's two distinct systems working in parallel.
And they don't always get along.
They often don't. Kahneman calls them simply System 1 and System 2.
Very creative names.
He's a scientist, not a marketer.
Yeah.
But the simplicity really helps.
Okay, so let's break them down. System 1 is the autopilot.
System 1 is the default mode. It is fast, it's automatic, emotional, and completely subconscious. It operates entirely on association and pattern recognition.
So if I ask you, what is 2 plus 2?
4.
See, I didn't even have to calculate it. The number just appeared in my mind.
Exactly. That is System 1. It's effortless. It's the same system that makes you swerve your car when a squirrel darts out.
You don't stop and do the math.
You don't stop to calculate the friction coefficient of the asphalt or the trajectory of the roadward. You just react.
Or if I say bread and.
Butter. It's instant. And we need to give System 1 some credit here. It's not the bad system. It is a survival masterpiece. Think about our ancestors. If they were walking through the tall grass and heard a rustle.
They didn't have time to run a statistical regression analysis on whether it was a lion or just the wind.
Right. If they paused to think, they became lunch. System 1 prioritizes speed over accuracy. It takes a tiny slice of information, matches it to a known pattern, and jumps to a conclusion.
Okay.
It lets us navigate the world without crashing into walls. But here's the flaw. System 1 is terrible at complex logic. It loves a coherent story, but it hates ambiguity. It absolutely cannot do statistics.
Which brings us to the other guy in the cockpit. System 2.
The pilot. This is the conscious you. It is slow, it's effortful, logical, and calculating. If I asked you to solve, say, 17 times 24 in your head right now.
Oh, man. Okay, I can immediately feel the difference. I actually have to stop moving. I have to look up at the ceiling. It feels like resistance.
That resistance is key. That is the physical sensation of System 2 booting up. Your pupils actually dilate. Your heart rate goes up slightly. It requires active attention.
Right.
If someone shouts your name while you're doing that math, you just lose the thread.
Yeah, it's gone.
System 2 is what we use for learning a new skill, checking the validity of an argument, or resisting that second donut.
Okay, so we have this high-tech, logical pilot that's capable of complex thought, so why don't we use it all the time? Why are we so irrational?
Because of the core glitch. And this, I think this is the most important takeaway from this whole architecture section.
Okay.
System 2 is lazy.
Lazy.
Well, let's call it energy efficient, but practically it acts like laziness. Thinking slowly using System 2 is metabolically expensive.
It burns calories.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Your brain is a massive energy hog. It's about 2% of your body weight, but it consumes 20% of your glucose.
So thinking hard literally burns fuel.
Yeah, it does. It's physically taxing. And for most of human history, calories were scarce. You didn't want to burn energy if you didn't absolutely have to. So the brain is hardwired to conserve energy.
So it defaults to the autopilot?
The defaults to system 1 whenever it possibly can.
So system 2 is basically just sitting in the cockpit with its feet up, reading a magazine, while system 1 flies the plane.
Pretty much. And the danger is in the handoff. System 1 is constantly feeding suggestions up to the pilot. It says, hey, I have a gut feeling about this person, or I feel like this is the right answer. And because System 2 is lazy and wants to save energy, it usually just rubber stamps those suggestions without checking the work.
So we think we made a rational choice, but really we just endorsed a gut feeling.
That is the illusion of objectivity. We think we're the pilot, but really we're just the press secretary for the autopilot. We come up with logical-sounding reasons to justify decisions we already made emotionally.
Wow. Can you give us a real-world example of that handoff going wrong?
Politics is the easiest one. You hear a politician from the other side say something. System 1 instantly generates a feeling of anger or disgust.
Right, that's the autopilot.
A true critical thinker would engage System 2 and ask, wait, is this quote in context? Is it actually true?
But that takes effort.
It takes glucose.
Yeah.
So instead, System 2 just says, yeah, I'm angry, so they must be wrong. And you hit the share button. You let the autopilot fly you right into a mountain because checking the coordinates was too much work.
That is a perfect transition. So if System 1 is the autopilot, then cognitive biases are the buggy, outdated code it's running on.
Yes.
We've got a list here of the big 5 malware programs. These are the systematic errors that just trip us up again and again.
These are the bugs that are installed on every human hard drive at the factory. And number 1, the absolute king of biases, is confirmation bias.
The echo chamber builder?
Most people think they know what this is. I listen to people I agree with. But it's so much deeper than that. The mechanism is actually biological.
What do you mean biological?
Your brain physically hates cognitive dissonance. When you encounter information that contradicts what you believe, it creates a physical discomfort. It triggers the amygdala, the fear center.
So it's like a threat.
Your brain treats a contradictory idea like a physical threat, like a predator.
So when I argue with my uncle at Thanksgiving, his brain is reacting as if I'm attacking him with a spear.
Chemically. Yeah, pretty much. But when you see information that confirms what you already believe,
Yeah.
you get a hit of dopamine. It feels
It's
good.
a reward.
A chemical reward.
So we are basically just drug addicts looking for our next hit of, I told you so.
In a way, yes. And this leads to this massive double standard in how we process information. We accept agreeable info instantly. Oh, that headline sounds right. It must be true. But we demand rigorous, impossible proof for anything that challenges us.
I need to see the raw data. Who funded this study?
Exactly. And the algorithms know this. They're built to feed us that dopamine. They create these reality tunnels where we never see the actual arguments of the other side, only these caricatures.
So we become convinced the other side isn't just wrong, but stupid or malicious.
Right.
Let's move to malware number 2. This explains a lot of the comment sections on the internet. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
The confidence trap. Put simply, incompetent people are often too incompetent to realize they are incompetent.
That sounds incredibly harsh.
It is, but it's logical.
Yeah.
Think about it. The skills you need to be good at something, grammar, logic, brain surgery, are the exact same skills you need to evaluate whether you are good at it.
So if you lack the skill, you can't see the gap.
You lack the vision to see the gap between your performance and actual excellence.
The source material describes this journey through a chart. It starts with Mount Stupid.
It's a classic visual. You read 2 articles on epidemiology or crypto, and suddenly you feel like an expert. You know just a little bit, which is dangerous. You're standing on the peak of Mount Stupid, 100% confident.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Precisely. But then, if you actually keep learning,
You fall.
you crash down into the valley of despair. You realize, oh my God, this is incredibly complex. I know absolutely nothing.
But paradoxically, you are actually smarter now than you were on the mountain.
Exactly. You have more knowledge, but less confidence. Real earned confidence only comes much later, climbing up the other side.
So the takeaway is, if you feel 100% certain about a complex topic you learned about yesterday,
Check your altitude.
you're probably on Mount Stupid.
Almost certainly.
Okay, malware number 3, the sunk cost fallacy. This is the one that keeps us in bad jobs and bad relationships.
This is all driven by loss aversion. We feel the pain of a loss about twice as strongly as the pleasure of a gain. So once we've invested time, money, or emotion into something, we are terrified of wasting it.
I've already spent 2 years in this relationship. I can't leave now. Or I've put $500 into this stock. I have to wait for it to come back up.
Right. But here is the rational truth that System 2 needs to understand. The past is irrelevant.
That's a hard pill to swallow. The money I spent is irrelevant.
Completely. The money is gone. The time is gone. Rational decision-making only cares about the future. The only question you should ask is, from where I am right now, what is the best move for my future?
So if you stay in a bad situation because of what you spent yesterday, you weren't saving the investment.
No. You're just setting fire to your future to try and keep the past warm.
Oof. Setting fire to your future to keep the past warm. That is going to stick with me. Okay, moving to number 4, the availability heuristic.
This explains why we are scared of all the wrong things. System 1 is terrible at statistics. It doesn't use data sheets. It uses ease of recall.
So whatever is easy to remember.
Yeah. If something is vivid, bloody, or dramatic, we assume it is highly probable.
It's like shark attacks.
Precisely. A shark attack is terrifying. It's in the movies. You can picture the teeth, so people are afraid to go in the ocean. But statistically, death by cheeseburger heart disease is thousands of times more likely to kill you.
But heart disease is boring.
It's slow, it's silent, and it doesn't make the evening news. Man eats burger, arteries slightly harden, is not a headline.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Right. So the media focuses on the anomalies, plane crashes, terrorism, sharks. This creates an availability cascade. Our internal risk map gets completely distorted. We stress about the rare cinematic catastrophes and ignore the boring systemic risks that are actually dangerous.
Okay, the last piece of malware. The fundamental attribution error. This one is the empathy killer.
Yeah, this is a flaw in how we judge behavior. When I mess up, say I cut you off in traffic, it's situational.
Right, the sun was in my eyes, or I'm rushing to the hospital. I judge myself by my intentions and my circumstances.
Correct. But if you cut me off, it's not the sun. It's because you were a jerk. It's a character flaw. We attribute other people's actions to their fundamental nature while excusing our own based on the situation.
We do this everywhere. If a colleague is late, they're lazy. If I'm late, the traffic was a nightmare.
It prevents us from connecting with people. We just assume malice when it's usually just circumstance or, incompetence.
Okay, so we've done the diagnosis. We have a lazy pilot, a hyperactive autopilot, and a hard drive full of viruses. It sounds pretty bleak.
It does a bit.
We can't delete System 1. We'd never get anything done. But surely we can install some antivirus software.
We can.
Yeah.
We can't rewire the biology, but we can install patches. These are mental models frameworks that force System 2 to wake up and take the controls when it matters.
Okay, let's run through the antivirus toolkit. Tool number 1, steel manning.
This is my absolute favorite for difficult conversations.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of the straw man. A straw man is when you twist someone's argument to make it look stupid so you can knock it down.
Which feels great, but accomplishes absolutely nothing.
Right. Steel manning is the discipline of addressing the strongest possible version of your opponent's argument. Even stronger than they stated it.
How do you actually do that in a conversation without sounding, condescending?
You use a script. You say, hold on, I want to make sure I understand you. It sounds like you're saying X because of Y and Z. Is that correct? And here's a rule. You are not allowed to disagree until they look at you and say, yes, that is exactly what I mean.
That seems risky. What if their argument is actually good?
Then you should know that. But usually what happens is it lowers the emotional temperature, improves your listening, and if you do go on to defeat their argument, you know you've defeated the real idea, not just a caricature.
I love that. It takes the ego out of it. Tool number 2 comes from the world of professional gambling, probabilistic thinking.
This is heavily referenced to Annie Duke, the poker champion. She says most of us treat life like chess. In chess, you can see all the pieces. If you lose, it's because you made a mistake.
But life isn't chess.
Life is poker. There's hidden information, and there is luck. You can make the absolute perfect decision and still lose the hand. System 1 hates that.
It wants certainty.
It craves certainty. It wants to say, I know this will happen.
So the hack is to ban the phrase, I know.
Or at least try to replace it with, I am X% confident. Say, I am 60% confident this strategy will work.
That feels a little wobbly. Doesn't that make me sound unsure?
It makes you sound accurate. And as soon as you put a number on it, 2 things happen. First, you force System 2 to calculate that number. You have to ask, why 60? Why not 80? It engages the brain.
Okay.
Second, it protects your ego.
How so?
If you say, I am 100% sure, and you're wrong, you look like a fool, your brain will fight to the death to prove you weren't wrong. But if you say, I'm 70% sure, and it doesn't happen,
Hmm.
well, the 30% just came up.
Yeah.
Makes it safe to be wrong.
Which makes it easier to update your beliefs when new data comes in.
Yes, it turns a belief into a forecast.
Okay, tool number 3, first principles thinking, the Elon Musk method.
This is about stripping away assumptions. Humans usually reason by analogy. We say, we do it this way because that's how it's always been done, or that's the industry standard.
The example in the notes is about electric car batteries.
Yeah.
Back in the day, everyone said they would never be affordable.
Right, people said, battery packs cost $600 per kilowatt hour. That's the historical price. They will always be expensive. That is reasoning by analogy.
But Musk didn't accept that.
He looked for the first principles, the bedrock truth. He asked, what is a battery actually made of?
He looked at the physics.
It's just carbon, nickel, aluminum, some polymers.
Yeah.
He looked at the spot market price of those raw molecules on the London Metal Exchange. And it was like $80. The cost wasn't in the materials. It was in the inefficient ways people were putting them together. He realized there was no physical law saying batteries had to be expensive.
So he reinvented the manufacturing.
The technique is to act like a toddler. Just keep asking why until you hit a wall of truth. Why is this expensive? Because of this process. Why that process? Keep going until you hit the laws of physics. Then you build up from there.
Finally, tool number 4, the pre-mortem.
This is maybe the most practical tool for business or big life decisions. We all know what a postmortem is. The patient is dead. Let's find out why. A pre-mortem is time travel.
You do it before you start.
You gather your team or just sit down with your spouse before a big decision. And you say this. Imagine it is 1 year from now. This project has failed. It was a total disaster. Write the history of what went wrong.
Wait, you don't ask what might go wrong?
No, that's the trick. If you ask what might go wrong, people are optimistic. They don't want to be the buzzkill. But if you tell them it has failed, it's dead, you give them permission to speak up. It unlocks the truth.
So someone might say, well, obviously the marketing budget was too small.
Oh, the timeline was impossible.
Yeah.
Exactly. You find the potholes before you even get in the car. It counters that natural optimism bias that System 1 loves.
So we've got the architecture, we know the malware, and we have the antivirus toolkit. But here's the big question. How do we actually apply this? Because in the heat of the moment, when I read a headline that makes me angry, I'm not thinking about Daniel Kahneman. I'm thinking, I'm right and you're wrong.
That is the hardest part. The application requires a massive mindset shift. You have to value truth more than you value feeling right. And let me tell you, that is biologically unnatural.
It's fighting the dopamine.
It is. So you need triggers. When you're consuming media, treat your emotions as a check engine light.
I like that.
If a headline makes you instantly feel smug, ha! I knew those people were idiots, or instantly feel rage, just pause. That emotion is a signal that you are being hacked. Someone is pressing your System 1 buttons.
And that's the trigger to engage the pilot.
Yes. Ask yourself, what is this article leaving out? What's the boring explanation that they aren't telling me?
And in conversation.
Stop trying to win. Stop treating a discussion like a gladiator match where one person leaves on a shield.
Here's what he say.
Try to use the phrase, I hadn't considered that. Or ask, what evidence would change your mind?
And you have to answer that for yourself, too.
Oh, absolutely. If you can't answer what evidence would change my mind, then you aren't thinking. You're just preaching. You're in a cult of one.
That's a sobering thought.
It brings us to the final thought for this deep dive.
Yeah.
The concept of the infinite game. This isn't a one-time update. You don't just install critical thinking today and you're done.
You're going to relapse.
You are going to get angry. You are going to fall for the sunk cost fallacy. I still do it, and I study this for a living. The goal isn't to be a perfect, emotionless robot. The goal is to shorten the lag time.
The time between making the error and realizing you made it.
Exactly. It's about catching the autopilot before it crashes the plane. Maybe next time, instead of realizing the week later, you realize it an hour later, then 5 minutes, and then eventually you catch yourself in the moment.
In a world where we are drowning in information, and let's be honest, a lot of misinformation relying on that old Stone Age software is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
We have to take the controls.
Stop reacting. Start thinking.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That wraps up our deep dive into the mind. Until next time, keep thinking.